Okay. All right, so before we get to change management, we can't have change if we don't have a vision. So sometimes people don't have a vision. That's concerning, right? So I'm going to give you a little taste of what a visioning process might look like. This is not our actual visioning process. This is sort of a quick lowdown on how you can do it from some research that I did, and so I'm just sharing it with you. Typically our process can be like a 4-hour or 3-hour time period. We're not going to do that, so I'm just sort of sharing this with you here. So first we have to know where we want to go, and that's built on a process of vision. I told you this is my kitchen sink presentation, so here you go. Generally what happens when you start a visioning session is that you might have particular questions, and we all know the answers to these. Is the space being used to its maximum value? No, is generally the answer. Is the space being used to the best way possible to support both the people and the work? Is it accountable to the work? No, or why are you asking that question? Does the space support the way work is happening today? No, that's why I invited you here to come and talk to me. What's an acceptable target range for space utilization? I don't know. What's happening in my part of the country from family-owned grocery stores in the Northeast, right? So that's generally what happens in terms of these responses, right? That's never good. But it's important to have this discussion and ask these questions. So when we're thinking about visioning, I think that this is all very helpful in terms of putting a strategy together. So the first thing is being strategic in your visioning sessions, and I think it's about prioritizing the goals based on their organizational business drivers or your business drivers, and being able to narrow down those ideas based on performance and importance. Performance and importance. So you have to be able to rank those things. So you do that based on, in this case, impact and implementation, or importance and performance is another way to say that. And then you have to build this action plan around all of that, right? And all of that it makes more sense when we go through these slides here. So one way that you can do this, like this process, again, not a Herman Miller approach, but Stanford Design Institute uses this process, and I like it, so I'm sharing it. One is, it is called I Like, I Wish, I Wonder. And so to have this conversation with your clients or your colleagues at your organization, I think is quite helpful in terms of just starting the ball rolling. Again, this is not a professional visioning session that I'm suggesting here. This is just a thought starter conversation. So I Like, I Wish, I Wonder basically goes through 3 different approaches. I like, within the current space, is generally what's working well, or your enablers, okay? I like it, it's happening now. I wish, that should be negative, a minus sign, right? I wish are generally obstacles that are seen in the current environment. These are things that they'd like to change. And I wish talks about the possibilities of what could be. So it shows an individual's active engagement in what the future could hold for the organization. If they don't have anything in I wonder, that's concerning, and you should move on to someone else that does have a lot of stuff, because that shows their level of engagement in the process, in my opinion. And if they have a lot of I wish and not a whole lot of I like, that can also be concerning too. So think, this is just one approach to the conversation, okay? Not ours, but I like it. Another way to think about visioning in terms of a thought starter is how could we make it blank? And so I'm dissecting this for your junior high sort of diagramming sentences discussion in 7th grade. This is what it looked like, or 6th grade. Linking strategy to implementation is the how factor. So when you ask how, your strategy and implementation. When you ask could in sentence diagramming, this is about getting you to look to the future. If they say I don't know, then move on to someone else who might. Okay? Then the next part, we, is about the issue of collaboration and connection within the space. So how could we, not how could I, but how could we make it better? This is less about what Bob and Carol want and more about what the organization needs. And then the last part, make, is this sense of an active area that you want to really do something about. Okay? So I'm not saying that you use both of these. You could if you want. You don't have to use any of them. I'm just saying that this is a way to kind of get this process starting, envisioning, and what could be, okay? So let's say you do that. Let's say you ask both of these, I like, I wish, I wonder, and how could we make it blank, okay? Then what you could do is then build a matrix from that, because I want to be able to rank these in order of importance and performance, or in this case, impact and implementation. So after you find out all of those attributes of what they said, based on I like, I wish, I wonder, I wish it was more collaborative, I wish it was more open, I wish it was more vibrant, or I wish we could make it tech focused, or technology savvy, whatever those attributes might be. Well, those are all great attributes, but we need to rank them in order of importance, because we may not, if they come up with 30 different things, we may not be able to do 30 different things. Maybe we can do 10, 12, 7. And so we need to be able to rank them. So one of the things that we could do is rank them on the difficulty or ease to implement, okay? Or the importance of them might be this particular line here, potential impact. I'm not saying that we only focus on things that are easy to implement and most dramatic. It may be something that's difficult, but some things that are difficult can be really great. So it's okay if it's easy or difficult. We just want to understand where it might be in the process. If we want to make a space more technology focused or technology savvy, maybe it will be a difficult process for us. But however you decide to rank it, it needs to be ranked in some way. I like importance and performance because you can look at this in terms of what's more important to the group overall, and performance tells you how it's being performed today. So if it's a challenge today, then you know from a programming standpoint, then you can reevaluate the space, okay? But it needs to be discussed and ranked, in my opinion. So then once you do that, you can look in terms of a strategy. The strategy, in my opinion, needs to be understandable. Many times we speak different languages, well beyond just English, but the idea of when I say innovate, that's a big buzzword around, right? Innovative. Innovative can mean 50 different things to 50 different people in the room. So we have to spend a good amount of time, and I did this with a client in San Diego, an energy company. We were there for 4 hours, and we had to really focus on what the words meant to everybody, because they cannot explain what those words mean to everybody in the organization unless they all speak the same language. So if the word is innovative or collaborative, we all have to understand what that means. And we all might think, well, everybody knows what that means. Well, it only means that thing to you, generally, is what we find out. It means different things to different people. So we want to make sure that it's understandable. We also want to make sure that you can actually do it, because we should not be having conversations about things that you really can't do. That's creating a path toward action. And so if you can't do it and it's not actionable, then we shouldn't be having that conversation in the first place. So the other thing that I think is important is the process of alignment. And this is alignment based on not what Bob or Carol wants, but based on what the organizational drivers are. So it has to align. If they say that they want something that is more innovative, more collaborative, more tech savvy, more space for energy, all of those sorts of things, whatever those attributes are, we have to make sure that those attributes are in alignment with the organization. So every time we look at one of those attributes, we have to say, does that meet our mission statement? Or does that meet our 5 business drivers? Whatever those sort of are. And we have to link each of those attributes back to the alignment of the organization. If you don't do that, bad things will happen. So that's my soapbox again for the process of discussion. So any thoughts around visioning? I know that typically, it's a very long process, but those are my little quick slides on that.